So in a previous chapter, we have seen that how the cost is behaving, everything, right? And you got idea about that, how the cost is very important thing. Ultimately, if the people cannot increase the revenue, they need to control the cost. Cost in the sense expenses, right? And that expense will be basically uh, fixed as well as variable and as well as mix, and they have to watch that one. But sometimes you know that your price is based on this cost. If this cost is not identified properly, then your price is also wrong, right? Remember that I told you that your product cost, the whole exercise we did it in this one to identify that whether it belongs to where, right? So these are the product cost. Remember, these are the product cost. Which are these product cost? The very first exercise when we did it, the categorized into three. Just now that also I explained in a Central Valley example, right? Direct material, direct labor, manufacturing. That product cost is nothing but inventory cost, right? It is nothing but inventory cost. If you recall my past one, this inventory cost basically a product cost we call it, and it sits as an inventory till it is sold out. When it is sold out, it becomes a part of the cost of the goods sold. Okay, you recall that slide also when we discussed this chapter last week, chapter 2 as well as 6, right? So this inventory cost basically a product cost, which is consistent. That cost will decide what should be the selling price, right? Based on that, if your product cost is wrong, then how you can decide the selling price? How you can decide the selling price? In this Central Valley, this sales price, we found it this $140. How they can decide if they don't know what is the product cost, right? Probably you are charging too much, or you are what you call it, or you are charging less. If you are charging too much, then what will happen that customers in future will turn to the another competitors, right? They turn to the other competitors. And if you're charging less, that means you are not recovering your cost, and company slowly going towards the loss-making area, you can say. Okay, company is bleeding out. That means company is draining its resources. So knowing product cost is very important. Now these two cost is very easy. This direct material and direct labor. These two are very easy because direct material means whatever material you purchase it, whatever material you purchase from the vendors. So there is no question. Vendor will give you, this is my price. If you are making some product, right? In that product, there is like three materials are used. A, B, C materials are used, right? So all A, B, C price, you know it because vendor has given you a cost for this direct material. So that is known. This direct level is also known because you know the salary, the rate you are paying it, right? So from that you can find it out. Suppose that particular chair you are making it, you require 5 hours, and this 5 hours by two people, okay, and then they are paid a minimum wage rate of $15. Okay, then you can find it out to make this one chair how much labor cost. You can find it out. You can also find it out that 100 gram, sorry, 5 kg wood is required, and 1 kg wood price is so much. So your direct material cost is with you, direct labor cost is with you, but the manufacturing cost is not with you. This cost is not known. Manufacturing overhead, okay? So that cost is not known. What it is manufacturing overhead? Remember that we put it lot of manufacturing overhead cost, right? Under this one. Let me just bring it this so you get idea under, because here probably you might lose the side, but so over here. So what is, these are the manufacturing overhead cost. Anything manufacturing overhead cost, you put it under this one, this category, that is manufacturing overhead cost, right? So if I do it, your rental, your depreciation, advertisement, supervisor salary is a fixed cost. Okay. Now, advertisement is also is not manufacturing, but it is a fixed cost, so it is not manufacturing. So forget about it. But anything, any fixed cost which is happening in the manufacturing factory area, electricity, equipment, electricity of the factory building, okay, all these are there. Okay, this manufacturing cost, how they can allocate, how they can allocate on the individually for per unit. Here you know the per unit cost how much, right? So based on the per unit cost, you can charge the right price. So that is the whole question about that allocating the fixed cost. And the entire chapter, next chapter, what we are going to discuss, allocating the fixed cost to the different object in a right way. Okay, that is there are methods. One is the traditional method, and another method we call it ABC method. Okay, activity based costing. So based on the activity, we allocate the cost to the different object. Now, object, you know that you should be, it can be department, it can be product line, it can be geographic also. Any territory you need to allocate. Okay. So if the we have taken the airline industry, right? Airline industry, there is a fixed cost happening over there. That is what we call it ground baggage handling cost. Okay, so baggage handling cost will be allocated to the all the flights taking place from that area. It can be from it can be to the any place of the world, right? So any geographic. So it is allocated. So when they prepare any income statement, they allocate this baggage handling cost to the company which is taking care of a New York one, which is taking care of a Europe one. They allocate, right? So that means you are allocating to the cost object. Okay, so this word you need to understand. So traditionally, what happened that there was only one allocation rate. The word allocation means allocating to the cost object. That means charging. Basically, allocating means charging. Okay. Example, I tell you that currently you are using as a student, you are using a couple of systems. You are using eConestoga, you are using some another system also. So at lump sum, company pays a cost to the eConestoga. Maybe like say some cost is, you assume that suppose 100,000 is paid, right? So that eConestoga used by a 10,000 people. Okay, then you can say, I'm just giving a figure, you can say it is allocated, right? A $10 to each individually. That way allocation. That is, so 10,000 allocated to the students. So students are considered as a object. It is allocated. So this definition or language you need to understand. Like in a layman's language, many times we use very commonly, we have to charge and we have to allocate. So that is the meaning. Now, traditionally they charge on a basis of the direct labor. Okay, irrespective of that one. Just now I have given the example of this system use, e-constitutive system use, right? That has nothing to do with number of hours put by the employees of the Conestoga College, right? It has nothing to do, right? It has nothing to do even the number of hours by those some students. Like say some of the courses are 42 hours, some are 28 hours, right? And some are 56 hours course. If you remember, yours is a 42 hours kind of that, right? Many of that are, some of them are 28, some of them are 56. So these people, students, and these people cannot say that, oh, people are using 28 hours, students are, or programs are all 28 hours, so you charge less and you charge more. This kind of thing is not possible. Right now, we are charging everyone the same kind of a one rate. That is what company also, manufacturing company also do it. So what they will do it that they charge only on one basis instead of identifying the right one. So they use the labor hour. So what they do, all the all the fixed cost, they combine it. All the manufacturing fixed cost, they combine it, and they find it out how many laborers are working. Suppose their fixed cost is total like utility, insurance, depreciation, all this fixed cost is 500,000. Okay, total labor hours. Like suppose they have a whatever number of employee, total they are putting number of hours is 10,000. So this is per annum. Suppose this is the per annum is 500,000 annually, fixed cost, and their labor hours is 10,000. So we divide it, so it comes $50. So you can say that per unit, this is a labor, it's a per labor hour. So language is per labor hour. Manufacturing overhead cost is $50. Okay, because how you got it? Total cost of the manufacturing overhead is the 500,000. Total number of hours is 10,000. So per unit labor hour is 50. So if the company has a two products, say product A and product B, okay, and this company, one company utilizes, say for example, a 40,000 uh, 10,000. So it is a 4,000 labor hours. One company utilizes 4,000 labor hours. Another company uses 6,000 labor hours. And that is why total labor hours is 10,000. Okay. So what they do, they just allocate this 500,000 not equally, like not like that 250,000 here and 250,000 here. Rather, they use only one base, that is direct labor. So this one utilizes 4,000. So you have rate for labor hour 50,000, $50 is rate, right? So what you do, how much you can allocate? You can allocate that 4,000 multiplied by 4,000 multiplied by, how you can allocate? Multiplied by 50. Okay, that will go over here, and this was 6,000 multiplied by 50. Okay, so you can say this 200,000 will allocated to product A, and 300,000 is allocated to product B. So that is way they do it. Instead of allocating equally, they will do it based on this one. Now, this method is a good as long as typical manufacturing method, labor-based method. Okay, in a labor-based, when they use A and B based on the number of hours, labor is the main thing. Labor in the sense everywhere, like assembly line, the labor is the main factor. Then the finishing line, like a typical traditional manufacturing, we have seen that chair manufacturing or table manufacturing or any other manufacturing, right? So this traditional method is fine. But the question is arise that this one size fit everything, each and every cost you cannot decide, right? Like this overhead cost, there are so many overhead costs. All cannot be based on the labor hours. Some can be on a different basis also, right? Like say, this labor hours, this 500,000 is not only the utility insurance fixed cost. There is what they call machine setup. Means to produce this product, you need to change the machine dies, you need to change some setup also. So when you change, like say, if you like this product requires some CNC machine, so for CNC machine you need to change the die. It takes a time. It requires really a knowledge. You require a expert person for that one. Not any person can just change the machine setup and everything. Think about that large manufacturing company where there is assembly line production is going on. Now they are starting a new product. They have to make certain changes in the machine, right? Just like in our kitchen also. When you are doing some blending, right? Kitchen is a good example for the production, you can say. From the direct material, you get it from the grocery, you are converting into a food, right? So that is your final product. So you use lot of appliances. So suppose you are grinding it, right? Now you want to grind something thick or something thin. You change your blade, right, from thin to thick. Same way you need to change the various types of the dyes, various types of the settings also. That setup time requires a cost. That setup time requires the cost. So this particular cost should be allocated based on the setup type. Suppose A doesn't require setup at all. B requires lot of setup. Then the entire setup cost should be charged over here. Why the A should bear it? That is the idea. If particular cost is driven in the sense give a rise to a particular cost, that is a cost driver, then it should be charged to that cost object, right? Not to everyone. Okay, so these are some of the examples are also given that in an activity-based costing, what we are talking now is that instead of charging the one plant-wide overhead rate, see when they give you example, plant-wide overhead rate means one single rate they are using it. So here and generally that is traditionally direct labor. Okay, so from that we are going to use a multiple overhead rate to allocate a different fixed overhead cost to the object. Okay, object generally the product price. Okay, in that sense. So like couple of example, finishing department, painting department, shipping department. Each department has its own requirement. Like shipping department cost, that depends upon what? If I ask you, it depends upon the how much shipment you are making it, right? Some company they don't require a shipment, like say if it is a B2B, so in a month they require only 2 or 3 shipment. Some products I'm talking about, right? Whereas some of the products are very much in demand, they require very frequent shipment, very frequent. So most of the time the persons who are working, all the resources in that shipping department, they are busy, they are basically used for that product, right? Then whatever the cost of the shipping department should be charged to that product, right? Rather than the other product which doesn't, or which requires a less shipping, right? Example, like say before that COVID, hospitals uses the all the sanitizers and everything they use, right? The hygienic material. Now after COVID, they have set up a new department, what they call it, COVID test and everything, right? So after COVID, obviously there are some sanitizer consumptions and everything is increased law, right? So that increased cost actually should be charged to the COVID department. It should not, no, it should not be charged to any other department like say pediatric department or other department, okay. So that thing, like there is a, that is where the treatment is not changed, the same thing is there. So the any consumption increase, that is because of this COVID one, right? So whole idea is that you think about what is the activity, which one the activity is main driver, and that driver should be bear that cost, okay, rather than the bearing other products. That is the thing. So the a product cost can have a lot of all these product costs that are finally charged to the product one, right? Finishing, painting. No company is like working on a charity basis. They will not think that any cost incurred in their factory building, in their office, should be left, right? They will charge to the customers. Ultimately, they are recovering. Otherwise, their net income cannot be a positive. Correct? No? So there are a couple of examples they are giving you idea about that. Like say these are the cost objects. Suppose the company is manufacturing like say men's shirts and the women skirts, right? And the jeans pants and shorts and everything, right? So certain cost should be charged to this one. You know the final product they are coming out, right? How the final product sales price, you see how they decide it based on the total cost. But as I told you, direct material, direct level is not a problem. Problem is the manufacturing overhead allocation. How much you should allocate per unit, that you have to decide it, right? So just like in a per unit basis, you have to decide it. Like say, if I go back over here, my first example, maybe on the first example, yes, I was discussing this one. So what I was discussing allocated, but suppose this will be, you can say, uh, uh, per labor hour and one particular unit A requires say for example 3 labor hours, okay. To produce a chair it requires 3 hours, okay. 3 hours, and this requires 4 hours, okay. So now you know that the labor unit manufacturing overhead is a $50 per labor. So how you can charge per unit basis? You can charge per unit basis based on the 3 hours. So 3 multiplied by 50. So 100, 50 should be charged to this A product. And if this product requires 4 hours to produce, okay, so 4 hours for the labor hours, you put the cost, direct material cost, you put it direct labor cost based on the 4 hours, right? And then you manufacturing overhead, how you put it? You put it 4 multiplied by 50, so that means 200. Okay. So this figure we get it directly from the payroll. This figure we get it from the vendors. Okay. Like say, example, I'm just expanding this one. In this case, suppose a company requires a direct material of 5 kg of wood at $10, so you can say $50, right, for one chair. Direct labor requires 4 hours, right? And each direct labor is paid $15 minimum, right? So 15 multiplied by 4, that means 600 is the direct labor, and then this 200. So how they come to the product cost in this case example is a 50, that is direct material, 600, that is a direct labor, and the manufacturing overhead, that is 200. Total of these two will become a product cost. Okay. So whole idea, first of all, we need to find it out what should be the base. Okay, this is, we have taken a plant base, but we are going to do the ABC basis, which is where you have a multiple base based on the activity. So allocate this fixed cost. Once you allocate fixed cost individually on each cost, we can come to the unit cost. Okay. And once they know that this is my unit cost, then they give a price to the, then they put the selling price. Otherwise, the selling price is not easy. Okay? So in this diagram, in activity base, where we allocate all the cost based on the their main activity. So finishing department, if particular product requires more finishing, so entire finishing department cost will be charged based on the usage of the finishing department. Okay. So if company has a 3 products and if one product is consuming 50% of the finishing department activities, other 2 products is like 25, then the product which is consuming 50%, it should bear the 50% of this department cost. Okay. The product which consumes more painting activity cost, painting department activities, okay, that product should bear the cost of painting department. So what you are using the activity of a particular department, okay, that will be allocated to the different product based on the usage rate, based on the usage rate. On that basis, we decide. So what do you new things you are learning? Allocating cost to the object, but using certain base. And in an activity base, you have a multiple base based on the different kinds of the activity consumed by the various products. Whereas in a plant-wide base, you are using only single base, and that is a labor cost. Okay. So here you can say these are some of the objects. So when they decide about the final cost for this product, they have to think about that how we should charge. So suppose like say some of the cost, like say customer cost, that is also overhead cost. It is not a part of a manufacturing overhead cost, but it is a office overhead cost. The customer care services, their product should be allocated to this product also, because customer care department is not like on charity, and company cannot just cannot work without recovering that cost from the sales price, right? From the cost the final price they decided. So what they will do it, they need to know that how much cost for it, this one, they allocate. Now, some of the product requires more customer service activities rather than some product. Okay, like it's a simple T-shirt. You manufacture simple T-shirt. It doesn't require too much activities for the customer service department. But some of them requires, like say, and customer service doesn't mean call center only. It is everything, like everywhere. It can be the inspection also, shipping also, customer order requires everything. Is a customer service is a return and attending this one. But when the customer order comes, then it requires everything, right? So all these cost based on the customer orders, right? So if this product is having more orders, okay, and this product requires how much order for each and every activity, based on that you allocate this one. Now, this product doesn't require so much. So this product, jeans pant, should not bear so much cost. And if this one, it should bear it, right? And different activities consume in a sense that whenever this, like this is the any customer order, but suppose like any product, fixed overhead cost or any cost we talk it's not manufactured as it is. It requires labor, equipment, energy. That means all the utility bills and the supplies also. That is direct materials also. These are the different resources utilization. So once you have all this pool, how you can allocate to the different product? That is the question, right? So in activity-based costing, we decide that how much activities are carried out and particular product requires how much activities based on that. Okay. So these are the steps. That steps is important. So I directly go to that steps. Oh, yeah. So first we identify the activities, okay. Then we create a pool. Pool in a sense, it is like all activities putting together and create a bucket kind of that, okay. And then we identify that how much cost is required, everything, right? And then we allocate, okay. These are the steps are given, but sometimes this is not a watertight compartment. Sometimes you club the activities together, some steps you club together, and then you can move further also in activity based costing. So many companies nowadays, they are utilizing this activity based costing as against the traditional method. So in that one, they allocate their overhead cost based on the how much activities consumed by the various department, various object, you can say, various division, various products, okay. And they watch that, and based on that, the cost of those activities are allocated to those cost object, okay. And not only just one criteria, that is labor hours, okay. So they have given certain expenses, certain example. Let's take one example. I have uploaded this file also with you. So after this example, we move to the textbook example also, okay. So let's take this example. Now, you know that in a restaurant industry, right? You prepare some of the stuff. Cookies is prepared. The cake is cupcake. Everything is prepared. So this is one of the example where you find that a person is given some bulk order, or even like sometimes the person has to support to the charity. So they don't want to charge full price, thinking that instead of charging a full price, it should charge the just minimum bare cost where they can cover the cost only. They don't want to charge any profit. Okay. So once the company know that this is the product cost, they and then on the product cost they put their margin and they give the sales price, right? But to know the product cost, they need to know how the allocate the manufacturing overhead cost, correct? And many times the company doesn't would like to charge the full margin, just they would like to give a charity. So remember that in a lot of charity events, like say in Canada for the Christmas event, this lady called Sarah, she's running a Mount Forest cake shop, and she has got an order from the local charity for her Black Forest cake, which is very famous and which is very good. So charity people, what they do is that they purchase at the cost price, reduced price, okay, which is a lower than any cake shop. This cake is being sold out, right? So that charity they buy it at the lower price and they sell it and they generate fund, and that fund can be used for their charity purpose. So she would like to help out by providing at the cost price. But the question is that she doesn't know what is my cost. Many times, you know that the small companies, they do not know what is exactly their cost per unit cost, right? So because this, they would like to have a certain number of, like say 100 units, they would like to have it. So can you give us 100 units they would like to have? Suppose this charity, they would like to have 100 units per week, right? So that kind of contract is set up. So now she is in a trouble that, or she is in a, she would like to know what will be my real cost before I quote them, right? She doesn't want to give below cost, and she doesn't want to give above cost also. So let's take some of the figures and we move that how the activity-based costing and how the traditional costing is working out with a very simple example. Okay. So first look at the parameters. So Black Forest cake, they require the 100 units per week, okay? And to make this cupcake, whatever it is, a lot of automation. So it just requires 0.05 direct labor hour, okay? 0.05 direct labor hour means you 60 minutes per hour. So 0.05 is 3 minutes, correct? Got it? 3 minutes it takes, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, good. And then it requires her some cost, that is procurement cost, maintenance cost. Okay, maintenance means she has to remain, she has a shop and manufacturing one, right? So she has to maintain it, and she has to, like, direct material will come, that is separate. But apart from that, she has to have some department who is busy with procuring all materials. Only person is working in procurement, right? And another person or another cost is this one. Okay, so this is like a fixed overhead cost. So total overhead cost will be how much? It is a 4,000. Okay, so this will be the overhead cost. So total overhead cost is a 4,000, and then uh, you are also given the information about the how much is the labor hour, how much is the labor rate, also how many labor hours is needed, okay, to manufacture 100 cake, and then direct material also. Okay, the cost are given. So that means that 50 hours per week is required to generate the 100 units of the cake. Okay, and each hour is paid is a 20 bucks. So directly you can find it out. Your direct labor cost is $1,000, right? The direct material utilized for 100 cakes, okay, in a week is a 2,000. Straight away it is given. So you know direct material 2,000. You know direct labor is 1,000. You know total overhead cost is this one. Okay. Now out of this 100 units is given, probably that charity may need only 80 units or something like that. So how she can allocate this cost? The main idea is that because she would like to know what is my per unit overhead cost I should apply. So first she thinks about the traditional method. So in a traditional method, how they can calculate? Uh, you know that procurement expense is 1,000 and 3,000. So total overhead cost is 4,000, right? And how many hours it requires, direct labor hours per week? 50 hours. Okay. So traditionally you can directly, what just now I have given the example in the previous one, right? Remember that your 500,000 is the overhead cost and your 10,000 labor hour. That example I have given it. So using the same example, your total overhead cost is 4,000 and your number of hours is a per week. I'm taking per hour per week only, okay? Because we are not focusing, we are not going too much on the like 1 unit because it is too small. Sometimes it is better we use some larger unit of measure. So we are going on a weekly basis. So on a weekly basis, that your cost is 4,000 divided by 50. So you can get it per unit, how much it comes out to be per unit. 4,000 divided by, so it comes out to be $80. Okay, it comes out to be $80. Okay, am I right or wrong? Right? So per unit is $80, and then that means what? Per labor hour. Okay, sorry, not it is a per unit. I say per unit in a sense per unit of the labor. Okay, so per unit of the labor, your overhead rate allocation is $80. Now this one, how many hours it requires? It just requires 0.05, 0.05, right? So you multiplied 80 multiplied by 0.05, you get $4 overhead rate. That means whatever your cost is coming over here, right? Add this one, whatever the cost of direct labor per that one direct material, and you add this overhead cost. Okay. Remember that last time over here, when I found it that your overhead rate was $50 over here, and then we multiplied that, suppose it consumes 2,000 or 4,000 in that example. Here it consumes only 0.05. So whatever it consumes, so you apply that rate. So this is what we call it overhead rate. Okay. And how it is represented? It is represented as a per direct labor because we divided by dividing the number of hours, right? That's why it is per day. So your overhead per unit comes out to be at 4. Now let's find out what is the total cost. Remember that your total cost is direct material, direct labor, and overhead per unit overhead allocation. Okay. So how we can find it out? They told you that weekly $2,000 is the material cost. They already given it in your parameters. 2,000 weekly is the direct material cost. Weekly, how many units? 100 units. So 2,000 divided by 100, that will give you how much? Whatever comes, that will be your direct material cost. What is your direct labor cost? 1,000 divided by 100, that will give you the direct labor cost. Okay. So what they are doing is that they are doing the same. They are combining 3000 and divide by 330. But if you would like to do separately, then also is fine. Okay, so if you do it, divide by 100, you get it direct material cost $2. This will be direct material cost of $1. So $3. Okay, and then this $4 we got it. So basically, how they arrived it? Oh, direct material cost. My apology. 1,000. Oh, it is 100. My apology. It is not 1,000 unit. Weekly units are the 100 and not the 1,000. Okay. So 20, 10, and 4. Okay. So this is direct material. This is direct labor. And this is manufacturing overhead. So her cost is 34, which what we call it product cost. Okay. So many times students, they find it out allocation $4 and they stop the answer. No, you should find it out total cost. So this is how you can calculate. Okay. So remember that I should put it 100 and not the 1,000. You should like when I put any typo or understanding, because there are so many figures. So sometimes, the figures matched up. So you got any question about this one? 2000 divided by number of units, because this 2000 is a weekly cost. And in a week they prepare 100 cups, cakes. 1000 weekly cost. In a week they prepare 100. So that's why we divide. Now suppose this is the traditional method. In a traditional method, what we did it, we just use this manufacturing overhead. How we use it? We combine total overhead cost divided by number of hours, right? That way we did it. Remember that how we got it? Our total overhead cost, combine it 4,000 divided by number of labor hours. That we did it. And number of labor hours, we found it out. That is 50 hours, right? So that's why we found it $80. Okay. And $80 per cake requires only 0.05. So how much I should allocate? See, 80 you can allocate only when particular item is requiring 1 hour. If any item requires suppose 30 minutes, then you allocate $40. So based on the hour you are allocating, okay? So that is the interpretation you should understand, and accordingly you should apply it, okay? So after this one, we take a break. Just we understand now ABC part, okay? So for ABC, this is the traditional now ABC. So ABC, what will do it? You find it out how the activities are carried out, and you allocate accordingly. So accuracy, where the focus is on the accuracy. Like say procurement cost and maintenance cost, are they based on the same criteria? Are they based on the labor hours? Why we are utilizing the labor as a base, right? That is the logic we are trying to use it. No, they are not using a labor all the time. So we should use the correct base. So once we use the correct base, our allocation rate will be the more accurate. That is the idea. So let's take more information, because whenever the company implements ABC, they have to have a certain additional information. They need to find it out that that particular activity is how much they need to find it out, right? And then they can establish. Like last time we have seen that a particular product, if that requires more inspection cost than that particular product, like jeans, t-shirts, or any kind of other item, right? Then that product should bear more quality inspection cost rather than equally distributing all the inspection cost to all the products, right? So that is additional steps. It's extra time. So here are the extra information. So 100 units per week, okay, they are producing, okay. There are two POs, okay, and like for this 200 units, it requires two purchasing order, two production orders, right? And each they requires of 5 hours of the maintenance also, okay. So in a week, they would like to have a two purchase order and 5 maintenance hours for this kind of 100 weeks production, okay. So this procurement, you can say purchasing order also. PO means purchasing, okay, and PO can be a production order. But here more our production cost is not there. Our cost is procurement. So it is a purchasing means procurement. Okay. So if the procurement total expense is 100 hours, so $100 per week, that means that for two POs, it incurs $100. Okay. Because in a week, there are two POs. Okay. So in a sense that if tomorrow there will be a 4 PO, this cost will increase. So PO is like a cost driver. Okay. PO in the sense number of PO. The more the PO, more the procurement cost. Just like a shipping one. The more the shipping order, the more the shipping cost. The more the inspection request, more the inspection cost. Okay. That is the cost driver, you can say. The language you need to driver means the one which gives a rise to the cost. So if the more PO are added, this cost will give a rise. The cost will increase, right? Similarly, maintenance cost is a 3,000 per week. Okay. And that is because of this 5 hours of maintenance. That is why. If tomorrow there will be 6 hours, then maintenance cost will go up. So what you can say that number of hours, that is the cost driver. That is the cost driver. And how many hours? Like they are not putting all the hours, like basically 60 hours per week, they are putting it. Okay. So now I simplify your word that 1,000 procurement cost because of the two POs. Okay. And excuse me, can you hear me? Okay. Sorry. Uh, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Because sometimes I feel that my this cursor is on my mouse. So okay. So coming back over here, maintenance expense 3,000 per week. Okay, that is based on the 5 hours of the maintenance. Okay, so they are trying to put the 60 hours per week in a sense that they are considering that number of hours is going to remain open. Okay, so considering based on that, so in a week there are 60 hours. Okay, they are going to remain open based on, because the more if you keep your restaurant open, the then the cost will increase. If your restaurant is closed, so many of the cost will be declining, right? In the sense it affects, right? Or you can say you need more maintenance, like say suppose a company is working and a restaurant is working, your snow moving maintenance, your other moving maintenance increases, but you are keeping close, you need not to cleaning expense, all these are part of a maintenance expense, right? So direct labor hours, how they are finding out. Okay, so let's go over here because this one is a little bit one. So your labor rate, you know that $20 they are paying it. Okay, you know that it requires a 50 hours because in the first case we have found it out. That remains the same. Direct material cost, that is also the same. Remember that we direct labor cost, it requires 50 hours to produce 1,000. Okay, and how we got it? Because of the multiplication 0.05 multiplied by 150 hours, and that is why our labor cost was, last time it is $1,000. Like labor cost was 1,000, over here. Have we got it? So that remains the same. There is no change in the direct labor and only thing is that the overhead cost we are dividing differently. So how we are dividing over here? So as I told you that procurement cost 1,000, only two POs are there. Okay, and number of POs per week, how much they are putting it. So two POs, they are telling it that this particular item requires a two POs. Okay, like they have a weekly basis. Okay, uh, which they have to give a order for the charity purpose, but in a week they have a 40 POs. Out of that, two POs should be allocated to this charity lot. Like say you can say this charity, they will have to charge only the cost basis. Okay, and there is another commercial lot. So commercial also they have a these expenses, right? So all 40 POs, out of all 40 POs, only two POs are going to charities, and all 40 PO consumes this 1,000 procurement cost.
Then the question is that why this charity should bear all the 1001? Remember that they are charged $1,000 procurement, right? They should not be, because they should be charged only for the two and not for the 40. This 40 is because this, sorry, my interpretation is that before that, just I correct this 1000 per week because these are all the parameters. Okay. So 1000 they charge it because of this 40 POs are coming up. Okay. So this is, let me just write now more. This is required for this one and this is for all other purpose. Okay. For all, or rather not other, but for all. So this one includes definitely these two PO which are required by this black forest. And same thing is that this 3000 maintenance cost is because of the 60 hours. Okay. But out of this order, okay, let's say this order is like A order, okay, charity order A. That requires only 5 hours. Then why should they should bear the 60 hours maintenance cost of 3000, right? So this is for all. This is only for the black forest, a charity. They prepare the black forest charities and they prepare for the general, for the commercial purpose also. Okay. So now it is clear. So they have a two types of thing. One is for the cost basis, which they give to the charity, and other is commercial one. So now you allocate. So how you can allocate? So 1000 procurement cost. Okay. 40 POs are there. So per PO is how much? $25. And how much is required by the charity? Only two POs, right? Remember the first parameter is just a parameter for the Black Forest charity, whereas this one is for all one. Okay, so you should allocate only the $50. You should allocate only the $50. I don't know. Okay, we will see that one. Okay, we will calculate when. So just keep it over here clean. So I clean it. Same way, 3000 per week's maintenance, that is for the 60 hours. So how much is for the maintenance? It is $50, correct? It is $50. So we put it the $50. Okay. And then how now we calculate the total overhead cost. So 25 multiplied by 2, that 50, because that requires only the two POs. Okay. So that is two POs. That means there is only two POs. Okay. So multiplied by, and this is the 50 multiplied by how many hours? Remember that how many hours? 5 hours only. Okay. So this entire stuff that is for the, I would say that is only for the charity one. Yeah, that is the interpretation. So this is the how I bring it over here that you can focus it. So 50 multiplied by 5. So 300. Their overhead cost 300. And how many units they are producing? 100. So $3 should be charged. Vis-a-vis $4. Remember that last time they charged it something like, say, they put it 3000 in a traditional method. How they arrived it? They arrived it 1000 and 3000. Okay. And then we put it right over here in this one. Yes, 4000. Okay. And then we found it out how many hours they are putting, 50 hours in a week. So divided by 50 and we found it $80. And then allocation rate was $4. Okay. Allocation rate was $4. Now this time it came $3. So their cost will be reduced by $1. So this is very simple example. This is a small unit, 100 unit, but you can think about that, how it can be applied, the ABC analysis. Okay. So from $4, it has reduced to $3. So obviously instead of 34, it is now 33. Remember, other cost DM and DL will remain the same. It's not going to change. Okay. So sometimes you think that, oh, there is only $1 difference. Why we worried about all these things? What makes a difference? But see, the company, they think about on a continuous basis, right? They would like to make it like say some of the, you know, that organizations, they have a inclination for the charity of their choice, right? They would like to give it that one. there are many. I tell you that some of the, you might have heard the uh, path walk or something, walkathon is there. So large number of people gather over there for walkathon, thousands and thousands peoples, right? And after walkathon, they are given like either they are given the burger, Airbnb, cupcakes, and everything, and it is a routine nature. It is not like that once in a while it comes. Maybe in a year, couple of 2 year, 2 to 3 times they do it at large level. Every year they do it. So they would like to know that what is exact the cost, right? So at exact cost price, they can give it to the different charities. Okay. So this is that example. Now you take a break. We are going to continue up to 11:30. That is fine if it is. Otherwise, you can watch the video. But I like to do certain examples. Okay. So when you come back, okay, then you should have the examples. So which examples we will do it? Foundation 15. Okay, so we do couple of foundation 15. So open that one. There is a good video also, but foundation 15 is like very good problems. It covers everything. So I would like to Hickory Company foundation 15. How do you get it in a foundation 50? You watch also. If you go into your textbook, I will show you. You can, you remember, just like that it follows like brief exercise, then there is a what we call it exercise, and then problems. Before brief exercise, there is a foundation 15, that subtopic is there. So in that one you find it, this one. Okay, so I'm leaving it. We will understand this one. There is it's a long problem, so I cannot show everything in a one. We will take it one by one. So you read, understand, and take a break, and we will be back in a this 10:18, so 10:28 we will be back. Okay, thank you.